So what bits of equipment do you actually need to start making music straight away? There's a lot of opinions out there about how much and what kind of gear that you need, and we're going to answer that question today in this video. All that and more is coming up. This is The Soundco and my name is Byron, and thank you so much for joining me on this video today. On this channel, we talk about a wide variety of topics related to creating music. So whether you're a recording engineer, a mix engineer, an artist or a songwriter, there's something for you. So make sure you hit the little red button down here, subscribe so you get told when new content becomes available. Okay, so on to today's topic, what gear you actually need to start making music. There are a few essentials that you're going to need to make an investment in at the start, but I also want to stress to you that you don't need to have all of these things in place straight away. Now, the very first and the foundational thing that you're going to need to start making music in this digital age is a computer. I'm going to recommend to you guys to invest in a laptop computer. It doesn't have to be a Mac. I've used Mac for the last 12 years, so I'm just used to that, but you can use Windows as well. Now here's the specs that I use on my laptop computer. This is the 2015 MacBook Pro, the Retina edition, when they still came with precious USB ports. Now I'm assuming that you own a computer already because you're watching this video on YouTube. Unless the computer that you're running today is over 10 years old, there's a chance that the computer that you're using right now is going to be good enough to run most digital recording softwares. If you do need to make an investment in a new computer, I would suggest maxing out the RAM as much as possible for that machine and trying to get the fastest processor that is available for that computer. Digital recording software can take up quite a lot of CPU power, and when you start to add things like plugins and virtual instruments, it's very easy for your system to slow down if it's overloading. So making sure that your computer that you're using is powerful enough to run the sessions that you're trying to run. So the computer is your first ingredient, and that's the most obvious one, and hopefully you've already got one that you can use today. So the next thing we're going to talk about is recording software, or DAWs, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation, is the thing that's going to bring your music together. Everything that you want to create needs to go into this program and back out of it. Now, before you go out and spend lots and lots of money on a piece of recording software, know that there are a lot of free options available to you. If you're running a Mac, these things come with a program called GarageBand. Now, GarageBand's not the most advanced software in the world, but it still has the capability to take a song from start to finish. So it comes with a bunch of loops and sounds, and you can record audio into it. So if you're just starting out, I would recommend playing around with GarageBand and seeing if you can get a feel for it, but I'm pretty sure you'll quickly run out of the capabilities of that program. The next step up from GarageBand is a paid option called Logic Pro. Now, what I like about Logic is the amount of sounds that it comes with. So you get things like pianos and strings, drums, and lots of different sounds that you can start using straight away. You don't need to go out and buy lots of extras to start with Logic, although I'd recommend jumping on our website and grabbing some sample packs for Logic EXS24 sampler. So if you've gotten past GarageBand and you don't want to use Logic, there's a program called Pro Tools, which is well renowned as the industry standard of recording software. I've used Pro Tools for the last 13 years because that's the program I started on when I began my studies, and I've just carried it right throughout my recording career. It's usually the case that whatever you start your recording career on is what you're going to carry right through. The cool thing about Pro Tools is that it's well renowned as the industry standard of recording software. So if you nail learning Pro Tools, it means that you can go to almost any recording studio that runs a Pro Tools system and be able to use that studio straight away. Pro Tools comes with a free option as well called Pro Tools First, which I would recommend anybody who's looking to get into Pro Tools to get that first. Pro Tools First. It's a really good entry point to learn the system. It's not quite as elaborate or feature-filled as the full program, but it's going to give you a taste of how the system works. Other programs that I could recommend that are worth checking out could be Ableton Live, Cubase, Reason, Studio One, Fruity Loops, Reaper. I don't know any others. There's lots of programs. What I like about most of these companies is they offer you a 30-day free trial to use their software in full, or a downscaled version of their software to use for free. And what that means is that you can check out a piece of software, see if it works for your workflow, if you like the tools and the editing style and the mixing style, see if it works for you, and then if it does, make the investment and start running with that as your DAW. Hi mate, come here. Ooh. This is Harry, he's 11 months. And he's a pain in the ass, aren't you? The next thing we need to chat about is audio interfaces. So audio interfaces, they come in all kinds of different sizes, different capabilities, and varying price tags. Your audio interface is going to be the audio heart of your recording studio. Everything that you want to record is going to go into it, and everything you want to hear back is going to come out of it. If you think of your computer and your software as the brain of your recording studio, then the audio interface is going to be the heart of your recording studio. What audio interface you are going to need for your studio really comes down to a few factors. Do you want to record live instruments and vocals, in which case you're going to need one with microphone preamps? Do you want to record something like a drum kit, for which I would recommend no less than 6 to maybe 8 microphone preamps in that interface. If you're somebody who wants to record an acoustic guitar and a microphone, for example, then really you're only going to need an interface with 2 microphone inputs. As I said before, audio interfaces come with various capabilities from small to large, and the price tag reflects that as well. Now, if you're starting out in this recording game, I would recommend getting a cheap recording interface. Now, later down the line, once you've developed your skills a little bit further, then it might be time to invest in a more expensive recording interface. Audio interfaces start to get more expensive when they have better features like more microphone preamps or better conversion, digital inputs and outputs, and various different things. So remember, if you're just starting out, you don't have to go for the most expensive recording interface. Start on something cheap and develop your production skills, and then later, if you're really into this and pursuing it as a career for your future, then it's time to invest in something a little bit more professional. Now, you can easily go and do a little Google search or check out an online digital audio retailer, see what interfaces they have available, what falls into your price category, and also what falls into the capabilities that you need to start making the music you want to straight away. The next thing that you're going to need on your list of essentials to start making music is a pair of headphones. Now, apart from the obvious reason of having to hear back what you're actually making, you might be a guitarist or a singer and you want to be able to record yourself. Now, to do that, you're going to need a pair of cans that isolate. I'm going to recommend that you guys get a pair of closed back headphones. That basically means that the sound that is coming into your headphones isn't going to bleed out and get into the microphone that you're recording into. If you buy a decent pair of headphones, there's no reason why you can't also mix your music on them. As you can see, I've got a pair of studio monitors behind me, and these things were an investment that I made a lot later in my recording career. After I'd spent a long time making music on headphones and borrowing whatever gear I could, it was time for me to make my own investment in a pair of speakers. Now, at some stage, you're going to need to make an investment in some good studio monitors. The reason for this is that listening to your music on studio monitors is going to be a lot more detailed than listening to it on any kind of hi-fi speaker or just a pair of headphones. Now, like I said before, you can mix your music on a decent pair of headphones, and the reality is that most people listen to music on headphones these days. But in order to hear the full sound and detail, in order to mix your music well, you're going to need to get a good pair of studio monitors. Now again, studio monitors come in all kinds of different sizes and sounds, and some really big price tags sometimes. But what I'd really recommend doing is going to your local audio store and sitting down in front of all the monitors that they have set up for you to test. Most audio stores that sell studio monitors will have a setup where you can switch between various different speakers. Make sure for this that you take in some really good quality reference tracks that you're familiar with. Now, I'm not talking about the music that you've made yourself to take along with you. I'm talking about music by commercial artists that have been released into the world and have already hit the charts. Being able to switch between the various monitors that are in front of you is going to give you a variation of the sound and how the music feels on different speaker sets. Your choice is also going to come down to the taste of how you like to listen to music, but most of all, your budget is going to affect the choice that you can make. I'd really recommend making an investment in your studio monitors, because these are the things that you're going to be spending days and days in front of listening to. Okay, now the final piece of gear that I can recommend that you need to get if you want to start making music straight away is some microphones. Now, if you're just wanting to create beats to release online, or you're a film composer, or you're wanting to just create dance music, you might not have the need for a microphone. But if you're somebody like a guitarist or a singer, a songwriter, anybody like that who needs to record a live instrument or a live voice, then you're going to need to invest in some microphones. Now, choosing microphones is a really quick way to blow your budget completely out of the water, but you don't have to always choose the most expensive microphones. This little thing is the Shure SM57, and it's the world's best instrument microphone going around for less than $100. I would recommend that anybody that is looking to have a career creating music is going to need at least 1 to 5 of these microphones. The 57 is most commonly used on electric guitars or snare drums, but it can also be used on a wide variety of other instruments as well, things like acoustic pianos or toms. It can be used on brass and even vocals if you put a pop filter in front of it. The other microphone recommendation I can make that you don't need straight away, but you're definitely going to want at some stage down the line, is a good condenser microphone. Now, this little thing is called the AKG 414. It's a very popular condenser microphone, and how much does this cost? Okay, at the time of recording this video, I can jump onto eBay and get an AKG 414 for £430 or £500 thereabouts. Now, obviously, condenser microphones are a little bit more expensive than dynamic microphones like the SM57, but there's a lot more technology that go into making these things work well. This microphone, for instance, is a multi-pattern microphone, which means I can do cardioid, which just picks up sound from the front. I can do figure eight, which picks up sound from the front and the back, or I can do omnidirectional, which is all around the microphone. There's a little bit more versatility with this condenser microphone over something like the Shure SM57, but it doesn't mean that I couldn't chuck a 57 on the thing that I want to mic up, just like I would this one, and it not sound great as well. It will just sound different. Now, a condenser microphone picks up a much more detailed sound than a dynamic microphone. These things have a much wider frequency range than the dynamic counterparts, whereas the dynamic sound is a little bit more narrow, a little bit more focused. Particularly the SM57 has a lot more of a mid-range focus, whereas something like an AKG 414 has a really wide frequency spectrum. Now, as I said before, getting good microphones is a really fast way to blowing your budget and eating tin spaghetti for the next 3 months. But what I'd recommend is building up your microphone kit slowly. You don't need every microphone that you've seen being used in a professional studio straight away. You can start with something as little and as cheap as a Shure SM57 and put it on everything you want to mic up. Now, the rest of the stuff like external microphone preamps or compressors or sound desks are all great things in themselves, but they're not entirely necessary for you to start making music right now. All this gear that you can see behind me and all the gear that I've acquired over the years is specifically chosen for what I need to do in the recording studio. If I'm ever going to invest in a shiny new piece of gear, I do that because the gear that I currently have isn't serving the need that I have for the recording clients I've got coming to the studio. But what I want to stress to you, and I've said it before, is that gear doesn't make great music. Obviously, you need some of these essential things that we've talked about today to start making music. But the most important things that you need to look at to make good music is having good brain, a good set of ears, and skilled hands. If you're just starting out in this industry and you're wanting to start a recording studio, don't feel like you have to acquire all of this gear straight away. This stuff can take years and years to build up. Start with the basic stuff first and build your production skills from the ground up. Then when you're ready to make the next investment or the next tier up in your professionalism, that's when you can make an investment in good recording equipment. Oh, Harry, come here. All right, Harry's gonna help sign off the video today because he's scratching around in the back there. Oh, you got an itchy face. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've enjoyed this video and you've learned something from it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel so you get informed when new content becomes available. Also today, I'd love to give you guys some free drum and analog synth samples for you to start using in your music production. All you have to do is head over to my website, thisisthesound.co. There you can sign up and you'll get a download link for our free sample packs. It contains drum samples and analog synth instruments for Logic and Ableton Live. Harry needs to go to sleep. This video needs to end. Thanks for watching and keep making great music. We'll see you next time. Bye.